President Buhari launches new development plan as Federal Executive Council approves implementation framework for it. Nigeria's foreign reserves fall to $40.66 billion, and Nigeria's interest in Bitcoin rises just as oil prices keep climbing. This is Business Express on the network service of the NTA, and we're reaching you from Abuja, Nigeria's capital. I'm Leakating Babatunde. Good morning and compliments of the season. We'll begin by informing you that the new National Development Plan 2021 to 2025 has been formally launched and presented to the public. It replaces the Economic Recovery and Growth Plan ERGP 2017 to 2020, which assisted Nigeria to exit recession in 2017 and sustain modest growth in the economy until global financial meltdown occasioned by COVID-19. President Muhammadu Buhari performed the ceremony on Wednesday, where Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning Zainab Ahmed explained the plan.
The plan seeks to invest massively in infrastructure, ensure macroeconomic stability, enhance the investment environment, improve on social indicators and living conditions, tackle climate change mitigation, adaptation and resilience strategies, amongst others. It is very important to note that the plan is a pointer to the type of Nigeria we all desire and encourage the use of science and technology and innovation to drive growth. I want to place on record that this plan is sufficiently comprehensive with the capacity to attain various regional and global agendas, including the AU Agenda 2063, the ECOWAS Integration Agenda 2050, and the Sustainable Development Goals 2030.
Meanwhile, a strong implementation, monitoring and evaluation framework has been approved by the Federal Executive Council towards ensuring that a new National Development Plan 2021 to 2025 with a size of 350 trillion naira achieves national objectives of a prosperous economy. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo is to head the implementation unit of the plan, while 6 governors representing the geopolitical zones of the country form part of steering committee, which also comprises members of the private sector. Minister of State for Budget and National Planning Clement Agba announced these to newsmen on Wednesday while giving further details on the new National Development Plan.
What is different with this plan is that it provides a mechanism to engage, to empower, and to employ our teaming energetic youths. What the plan envisages is for us to build in efficiencies within the system, remove the various binding constraints, all those things that impede on the private sector from running, so that more people can come into business and the ones already existing can grow more. They will employ more people who will pay taxes, and these companies will grow and pay more taxes. And that way we increase our revenues.
Nigeria has been rated the second country most interested in Bitcoin in Africa, despite the difficulty of accessing the trillion-dollar crypto market in the country. Data from Google Trends shows that the financial market turmoil caused by COVID-19 has definitely changed the way Nigerians view the entire financial system. with Nigeria among the leading countries in Bitcoin searches. Based on local geographic metrics, Delta, Anambra, Bayelsa, Edo, and Enugu rank as the top 5 states with the highest interest in Bitcoin in Nigeria. And again, latest figures from the Central Bank of Nigeria show that Nigeria's foreign reserve dipped $485.41 million to settle at $40.66 billion from $41.15 billion as of 1st December 2021. In 2020 and 2019, a similar reduction happened during the festive season. In 2020, external reserve dropped by $505.9 million in the Christmas week, while in 2019 it dropped by $665.93 million. This year, the country's foreign reserves have been steadily declining throughout November, starting at $41.82 billion. This week, the Senate passed the 2022 budget and also approved a request by President Buhari to extend the 2021 budget implementation year from December 2021 to March 2022. Also, the House of Representatives passed the 2022 appropriation bill and the 2021 finance bill and also raised the total estimates of the federal government's budget from the proposed 16.39 trillion naira to over 17 trillion naira. To discuss the budget and its intricacies on the program today is Paul Alaje, Chief Economist with SPM Professionals, who joins us virtually via Zoom. Good morning, Mr. Alaje, and thank you, as usual, for joining us.
And thank you so very much for having me.
I start by saying compliments of the season.
Compliments. Thank you so very much. Merry Christmas in advance.
I wish you the same. Now, the National Assembly jointly passed the budget. We all know that the price, 17 trillion naira. Very ambitious, I might say. Any key points to watch out for?
Well, the National Assembly has passed. Recurrent expenditure is a bit higher. Capital expenditure still the same. Statutory allocation almost the same. One of the things we may want to look at for is infrastructure, which government have said is going to sustain energy, is going to sustain new strength in that line. And if you look at what government budgeted for security, it also shows that government is seems to be interested both in infrastructure and security of Nigerians. So those are two major sectors for us. You may want to look at infrastructure, which include housing, which includes power, and so on and so forth. For us, when you look at the budget in terms of dollar terms, it's just a slight improvement from what we had in 2020. Because if you recall 2021 budget, I beg your pardon, if you look at 2021 budget, it was not completely low if you look at what exchange rate was in 2021 compared to what it is right now, towards the end of 2021. So properly speaking, I would like to say that the budget is being raised, even though some of other parameter adjustment might have been considered by the National Assembly so that they can say government will end such revenue. The real concern in that budget remains the issue of debt, and rising debts and how that will be financed. And I'm happy that in recent time, some international organization is now adding their voices to some of the things we have been saying to government, which includes our ability to finance some of our loans. The truth is that this economy needs nothing less than 30 trillion naira on an annual basis. So even if you say we are budgeting 17 trillion, it's still very low to what the economy needs. And from that 30 trillion, we need to be spending not less than 20 trillion naira on capital expenditure and about 10 trillion naira on recurrent expenditure. So what do we need to increase in the real sense is our capital spending, because capital means investment. So on one hand, government is not generating enough. And if you ask what is government doing with oil, the price of oil is also going down, no thanks to Omicron. That on one hand. On the second hand, output is also reducing. Output is reducing because of natural factor. We have had these oil fields for a while now. There is no particular frontier expansion for some of the things that we have. Some oil organizations are looking at 2025, 2027, 2029 to commence new activity. But I hope that Minister of
if I may
Petroleum.
come in here, you mentioned a while back the oil prices, but again, looking at the budget, we see that the price, the benchmark price, has been lifted upwards to $62 a barrel from 57. Should we be concerned about that? If there's already the concern about where will the funds be coming from?
Well, $62 per barrel is still, based on all projections of different economic reports, is still manageable, is still acceptable, even though some of the economies are still shut down now. It's still realistic, if you ask me. I believe that Nigeria can still survive that. My main concern is on output. You know, we are projected at $62 per barrel, even if you have reduced rates, that's the global oil prices. What happens to our output? Our output continues to reduce. And let me just put it out there that Libya is now rated higher than Nigeria in oil production. What is the population of Libya? Nigeria used to be the highest producer of oil in Africa, but not anymore, because Libya at a time, Angola overtook us. Now Libya has overtaken us in oil output. It is not that there are no more oil in Niger Delta. It only means that the environment is getting weak, and this is not because of activity of militants. No. Because of natural occurrence. We need to expand new frontier. I understand that we cannot base our economy on oil, but the miracle oil does. Just to explain, oil contributes only 7%. Oil contributes only 7% of the GDP. If 7% of the GDP is what most state and federal and local government depend on for the revenue of our country, then your guess is as good as mine. That if you have more of such oil, without neglecting the non-oil sector, especially businesses and private sector for development, then we are talking about the kind of growth we hope to see, the kind of revenue we hope our country and our government will generate and spend not less than 20 trillion. By the way, 20 trillion is bigger than the entire budget we are passing this year. It's bigger than 2009, 2010, 2011 budget together. That is what we need to spend on capital. And by capital, I mean power, I mean rail, I mean road, I mean education, capital component of education and health. We need to spend this money in this regard for us to say in the next 5-10 years, we can say the angel of economic development eventually have decided to smile on Nigeria.
Okay, now the president also requested the National Assembly to extend the current budget to the end of the first quarter of next year. What do you see this achieving?
Well, extending it to the end of first quarter is a bit of concern. The president has promised Nigeria that we're going to return to normal calendar.
Exactly.
For me, the time we should be sending our budget to the National Assembly should be around the end of August, early September. National Assembly could also, in the interest of Nigeria, wait to ensure that they do not just pass the budget at both chambers, but they wait to harmonize and send a single document to Mr. President for him to review. The holidays are here. Mr. President is not saying he's going on holiday. So if you have sent the document to him and he has reviewed it, so by taking it to March, from March, effectively you are talking about elections. So if you want 2022 to effectively perform, it's better it starts from 1st of January. So that message when it's coming from Mr. President, 1st of January, we're also getting budget summaries so that we all can prepare. We are saying, we are not available or we have not done our job, private sector, and those that want to invest in Nigeria, wait for us till March. Because you see, private sector and business community don't like emergencies or unplanned situation. You saw what COVID did. You saw what Omicron is doing now. We saw what happened in 2008. What happens in 2016, 2017 to the sector. So we need to get to that point where stability and people have that consciousness or that they understand that Nigerian economy can be dependent on, and the Nigerian government has something they can all rely on. If you say it is March for 2022, what will it be in 2023? It only means that as an economy, we have not yet perfected our plan for the lack of right word, or because we are on air, there are some words that are not professional to be used. If not, it's a huge worry for those of us who are economic watchers and economic planner. to hear that the single largest fiscal document that we have been given promise, and we have also advised quite a number of places around the world that you can start planning with Nigeria. Which inflation figures are we going to use? You know, is it going to be the one in March or the one in December? Which unemployment figure are we going to be tackling? The Q4 2021 or Q2 2022 for year 2022? For instance, National Development Plan has just been passed, tax 2021 to 2025, but it's been passed and inaugurated in December 2021. Come off it. We can do better than this. We are the largest economy in Africa. And for Africa to develop to a large extent, we must show that example. And this will come with our discipline when it comes to presentation of documents like this, whether you call it National Development Plan or you call it the budget, which is so very significant.
Okay, before I let you go now, just in 1 minute, what will be the role of private sector players like you and a lot out there in ensuring that this budget works, the National Development Plan works, and also meeting these challenges, bridging them? As you just pointed out, we didn't see COVID coming. It changed everything. What is the role of the private sector?
A lot. When you look at National Development Plan, private sector is taking the largest chunk. You know, federal and state government are only contributing a fraction. So there is no economy that can work without private sector, except you are talking about socialist economy. Even socialists in recent time, they've understood the implication of private sector. So if you want the economy to truly work, you work with private sector too. When you talk about budget, I'm happy that Minister of Works and Housing have recently said all those that have worked, the contractors that have worked maybe in his ministry should be paid immediately. Because when those people are not paid, I'm not one of them, by the way, but when those people are not paid, you are only saying that poverty and hunger will continue to stay locally. And these are our local contractors for God's sake. So I was so very happy. I don't know anybody in that bracket that the minister mentioned, but we are now going to be encouraging our engineers, for instance, in the place of infrastructure, and those that are with us locally to get engaged. So when governments have made a plan that is certain, and we are all sure what the plans of government was, and this budget starts working as early as we expect it by March. Recall that by January, if you say budget is in January, when are you going to have financial releases? Sometimes around 60 to 90 days. So how many months do they have to pass? And recall that 2023, most economic activity will not play. What you'll be having in 2023 will be purely elections. So private sector stay at that center, at that core, that can combine different
will be our
economic activity
year.
and policies of government for them to become a reality.
Sir Paul, I'm afraid I will have to end this discussion here. I'm told our time is up. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Do have a nice one and happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
With the high unemployment rate and not sufficient jobs to cater for the teeming population, Nigeria's First Lady Aisha Buhari is encouraging captains of industry and financial institutions to ensure more access to credit facilities for corps members. The First Lady stated these in a message during the closing ceremony of the National Youth Service Corps NYSC Skills Acquisition and Entrepreneurship Development Festival. Olenka Ojo reports.
Great economies of the world today is driven by entrepreneurs. And as available jobs cannot cater for the teeming population, acquiring a skill is the way to go. And these youth corps members are here to showcase the skills they have acquired during the service year.
Skill I've acquired will really help me, and I believe after the service year is going to help me, because I cannot say that work is actually difficult, but with this work I think I can feed myself and feed my family.
I'm just interested in bead making because it's part of culture. Skills I learned from the camp, I think I will be able to have something doing even if I didn't get job.
Even though the NYSC, since its existence, has continued to play a significant role in nation building, especially in promoting national unity and providing manpower in critical sectors of the economy, its current focus on youth entrepreneurship through Said has taken the scheme to a higher level. The First Lady, Aisha Buhari, represented by Dolapo Oshibajo, says the loans will help the youth corps members better utilize their skills.
I therefore call on captains of industry and financial institutions to grant more access to credit facilities and venture capital to the these poor members, to these entrepreneurs.
Despite the successes recorded in entrepreneurial development with more than 1 million beneficiaries from the program, Director General of the NYSC says there are some challenges which include shortage of logistics for training and the limited funding opportunities can provide startup capital for only a fraction of core entrepreneurs.
This partly informed the proposal for the establishment of the NYS Youth called Trust Fund. The fund will make the SIDE program more impactful, especially through provision of training logistics and startup finances to all the core members to actualize their business plans as core entrepreneurs.
The first edition of the Skills Acquisition and Entrepreneurship Development Festival was held in 2017.
Surviving COVID-19 is next.
Surviving COVID-19 series is brought to you in partnership with the Central Bank of Nigeria.
Why I choose this business is that I have passion of doing it. Because when I was a little girl, I used to tie this old model ashoke and gele for adults during wedding or any occasion. So when I got married, my husband brought me to Abuja. I started selling clothes. So when buyers come to buy clothes, they will be asking me, where can I get cap that will match it? You understand? So I say, okay, let me add to this. I started producing it, the cap. So that if you buy clothes, you buy matching cap or gele. So this work, I do it for a passion. It was good before the COVID-19 because during the COVID-19, I doesn't produce. And the capital that I used then, before the COVID-19, so that is what we use for upkeeping. Because we are not working, we are not producing, we are not going to markets. But now that is after the COVID-19, now we started now. Little by little, you can see I don't have many stands here because of capital. I will expand my business and I will teach other people, like the younger ones. The younger ones, I will teach them so that they will have handwork, because I believe that any child, any youth that is a graduate, you don't have handwork, it won't be easy for that person. Because if you don't have handwork, you will know why Nigeria item stop with so help me God. But if you have handwork with your degree, with your certificate, it's going to be very easy for you. Little chance you have, you showcase your handwork and get money to take care of yourself and other needs.
Surviving COVID-19 series is brought to you in partnership with the Central Bank of Nigeria.
2 days to Christmas, and Business Express Market Survey found out prices of some food items at the popular Karu, Nyanya and Maraba markets. The revelation shows that although prices are relatively high, they are slightly lower than the same period last year. Here's a graphic summary of some major commodities. And global commodities market is next. It was a negative close for investors at the close of activities in the equities market on Wednesday as we await figures for today. Meanwhile, the all-share index lost 0.34% at 42,224.22 basis points, pushing equity capitalization to negative territory at 22 trillion naira. 224 million shares worth 2.6 billion naira were traded in 2,677 deals. UACN Mutual Benefits Assurance PLC and Sovereign Trust Insurance PLC are the most active stocks with a combined volume of over 590 billion naira. Global Market Update is next with Bosley Abel.
Investors reacted to a study out of South Africa where the Omicron strain was first discovered, suggesting a reduced risk of hospitalization and severe disease compared to Delta. This recent discovery has positively affected African markets, with South Africa's JSE Africa Top 40 and Namibia's overall index opening on a positive note, while others are expected to follow same trend. European stocks are set to open slightly higher Thursday as traders looked to signs that the Omicron COVID-19 variant is not as severe as previously feared. Britain's FTSE 100 is seen climbing 27 points to 7,347. Germany's DAX rising 51 points to 15,617. And the French CAC 40 up 30 points at 7,068. Shares in Asia Pacific rose in Thursday's trade as fears over the Omicron COVID variant eased. Hong Kong listed shares of Chinese e-commerce Titan JD.com plunged 7.95%, while Tencent soared 4.2%. Nikkei appreciated 0.83%. Mainland Chinese stocks like the Shanghai Composite was 0.55% and the Hang Seng Index also rose 0.41%. U.S. stock futures were little changed early Thursday morning following the second trading day in which equities climbed higher as investors looked past earlier jitters about the spread of the Omicron COVID variant. Futures contrast tied to the Dow Jones Industrial Average added 0.07%. S&P 500 futures rose 0.06% and Nasdaq 100 futures were near the flat line. Boss said the able Business Express.
When the Business Express, a program for today here, and we return to you tomorrow at 3. Thank you for watching.